Let's move on to Falcons at Jaguars. No movement for the Falcons. 8.5 minus 125 to the over. That stayed the same. Division 375, Conference 1600, Super Bowl 3300. Now, I was in Miami and I was telling Drew Martin, I was like, man, I'm high on these Falcons. High on these Falcons. And we talked about some of their issues with the defenders returning from injury, some of their issues on the offensive line. And he was saying, man, that ticket for them to win the Super Bowl at plus 3,300 is something that he wants to get as well in his pocket. And that made me very excited. The Jaguars, their season win total has not changed. And I went back. I was like, how could it not change? It's still at 8.5, over plus 120, under minus 150. The Colts, Andrew Luck has no effect on the season win total. I was like, man, did I write that in wrong? That made no sense to me. But everything else has changed. The win of division was plus 375, now plus 260. Conference was plus 1,600, now plus 1,400. Super Bowl plus 3,300, now plus 2,500. In this game, Jacksonville opens up at minus 3.5, now minus 4, and this total has dropped from 33 to a low of 31.5 at Heritage. Donnie right side, Falcons, Jaguars.
You look at the opening lines, 33 is a total, 34.5, and now sits 32 across the board, and I wholeheartedly agree. And we got a really good look live. We've been watching Jacksonville as well as everybody else for the preseason, but we got to look at them live. And I don't like to take a lot out of the preseason, but whatever's going on in Jacksonville where it seems like, we're not going to panic and Nick Foles will be fine, that offense is absolutely atrocious for the first 3 games. You're not going to see anything in game 4. I mean, you have a 32 on the board. I would not be surprised if this game is like a 9-6 affair with just field goals in it, because what gives you added that you would love Atlanta as a second half in this game, doing absolutely nothing out there with a coach that could care less about actually playing in the game itself. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, if we see the Gardner Minshew show again, or Alex Magoo down there playing, Conference USA football, who's getting even first downs in this football game? I don't know.
Yeah, that makes sense. Even at 30, so Pinnacle's still holding at 32.5. Most of the books at 32. Heritage at 31.5, but there's no doubt the Jaguars have looked terrible. And T says, damn well, Capper, you have a room for rent. I want to live where you are. Weather looks beautiful. Yes, it's funny that even down here in Costa Rica, I find myself teething with jealousy when I see where Whale Capper's at. Only when the ocean's in the background, though, for me, I would say. Only when the ocean's in the background for me. Why do you think, Whale Capper, that this season win total hasn't changed at all after the Andrew Luck announcement? And how are you planning to hammer this Falcons-Jaguars spot? And what do you think about Falcons futures? Because I still haven't made them. And I remember you saying, take Falcons to win the division at plus 375. The Saints' first 4 games are not easy, starting with the Texans. And maybe you can find that perfect hedging opportunity, plus on both sides, especially if you don't believe in the Panthers. Well, Capper, a lot of questions to answer. Falcons, Jaguars.
Yeah, so I'm sticking with my feelings about the Falcons being a realistic contender in the NFC this season, even though we haven't seen anything positive coming out of their play through the preseason here. I guess the one positive would be no one of significant importance has taken an injury. Also positive, Matt Ryan didn't retire. So that's good. And we'll look at 33-1 makes sense to me for the Super Bowl. Plus 300 makes sense to me for the South. Those are still good looks in my opinion. And Donnie's look on this game specifically of an under is great. He was capping at 9-6. That's pretty aggressive. I'm looking at like maybe 6-0. I mean, like the way that what we've seen out of these Jaguars to this point in preseason has been so bad offensively. I don't know that reflects on how they will look come regular season, because we haven't seen some of their skill position players take very many snaps. But their skill position players stink, which is a problem. And I think that in general, people look at Nick Foles and they remember Nick Foles in St. Louis. They look at the wide receiver depth chart and they're like, who the hell is he going to throw to? They remember drafting Leonard Fournette last year in fantasy football, and they're like, that guy screwed me. So just the market sentiment on the Jaguars is there's not going to be enough there offensively for them to compete for this division. I would say that that's probably selling them short, because I don't know that this is going to be the roster we see. This is going to be the depth chart that we see these guys go with from from wire to wire here, it wouldn't surprise me to see them make a move and bring in a wide receiver. And Nick Foles is a huge upgrade over Blake Bortles, and there are some things to be a little optimistic about here, especially on the defensive side of the ball for Jags. So of the teams in the AFC South, I guess I feel the best about them picking up some of the win likelihood here from what the Colts have dumped on us. I still think the fatal flaws exist in both Houston and Tennessee that I want absolutely no part of anything to do with them exceeding expectations this year, which kind of leaves by process of elimination. That leaves me on the Jags, I guess. But like I said, there's still somebody's going to hit a lucky number here and pick up a little momentum and seize control of this division. But I sure as heck don't know who it's going to be.